All right, before we get to what the hell PGG are going to do to save this series, Juves, you noticed a little something there.
Okay, when we threw to the shot of the Chiefs room, celebrating that victory, I believe it was Pato, who's one of the Chiefs' assistant coaches. He's coaching the OCS team as well. Mans was wearing legacy tracksuit pants. That is the arch nemesis of the Chiefs Esports Club. So not only he's living in the Chiefs' house, and he's representing the brand on broadcast of the enemy team.
That is amazing. Do you think that this is a sort of like get in the mind of the enemy, get in the pants of the enemy situation?
Oh man, I don't know what it is, but I think I saw it and I just started laughing. I was cackling before we went on air. I was like, there's no way he's just blatantly standing there like he's so proud of his children. He's like, good job, guys, good job. And then you just look at the tracksuit pants and it just says legacy.
That is, yeah. I mean, maybe it's the ultimate troll. Maybe it's like, this is already playing mind games with them.
The Chiefs coaches are in chat, by the way, having a go at each other here. You've got Seal saying, damn it, Jews, I pointed out that Pato's like, we got to wear the legacy one to make it to the grand finals.
Yeah.
I mean, I would prefer no pants than the pants of legacy on Chiefs coaches. So next time we cut to that shot, no pants
I would say,
nothing.
let me just say, be careful about being too literal because sometimes people do take things quite literally and we could be cutting to a Chiefs celebration at a 3-0 where they just all have no pants on.
Look, I mean, at least we see some genuineness out of an esports team there. That's I know what these houses are like. I've seen the pictures. I'm on the discords. All right, let's get back to the matter at hand. Rusty, what the hell are PGG going to do to turn this series around?
Look, there's a couple of things that I think we should look at from this last game. One of them, we should be complimenting the Chiefs first because they take the Lilia away from PGG with the Nidalee being banned, which of course is an adaptation that we should just fairy claps for them because they did it. But the Lilia was taken away and it went nuts. It basically, like in my opinion, won the whole game, right? Its ability to team fight was huge. It was supported through laning phase. I think that TN's had a blinder so far this series, and if you looked at PGG versus Chiefs and you said who has advantages, you would usually say the top side of the map for the Chiefs. So the fact that we're seeing that and we're seeing it be successful, everything's going right for the Chiefs in that respect, and their team fighting's wonderful. But the biggest but maybe ever, the other side of the map, like it's so easy to be TN right now. It takes zero effort to be this Lilia and carry in laning phase itself, because they're doing nothing to support BioPanther, and they're first picking him Renekton, they're leaving him on an island, he's flashing for his jungler level 1, and he's been put so far behind on the Renekton every game. He can't be that pick. Like, if you ask me what needs to change, he needs to be on an Ornn. Just put him on something that can sit on an island at the very least and survive, because they're not providing him with any platform to succeed.
I mean, if you know Bio and you've been following the OPL for a while now, you know, this isn't to discredit him whatsoever, but he's not a Renekton player. Renekton's more of a need to be aggressive in lane, win lane, win game kind of champion. And I think anyone that knows him, you know, he's happy to play Dr. Mundo, happy to play Maokai, play Ornn. Just let the game scale, let his carries get items, and then he'll participate in those team fights and do a very good job of it. He's more of the peeling top laner as opposed to the I'll dive your backline and kill them. So I just agree with Rusty there. Now, the one thing me and Rusty talk about off broadcast is like Lilia and the current state of Lilia. Is Lilia strong? Is she overpowered and things like that? And Rusty's a firm believer that she's quite strong at the moment. Now, my eyes have been kind of tarnished a little bit by Oceanic Lilias. And so, I wasn't too sure whether or not the champion's good, balanced, or otherwise. And so this game from Tien really opened my eyes to the possibility of this champion and how strong it actually is. He single-handedly set up the engages to win majority of the fights for his team. Dragku had some very good secondary engage onto slip targets and landed like massive slams onto multiple members. And then from there, it was just pretty much clinical. They just cleaned up team fights. But yeah, I've never really seen a Lilia be primary engaged, but hey, today we have it. And, you know, it's kind of opened my eyes as to what the champion can actually do.
And I think, like, with this, the rest of this series, that has actually changed the way PGG need to attack draft. So they've been picking blue side, it seems. They did in this game anyway after losing. And that Lilia was taken away from them. So one of the options is to potentially go towards red side now and to look for something else as a higher priority. I feel like that may be the most important thing that they could look at. The other option is first pick it instead of the Renekton. because now this has proven to be something the Chiefs can beat them with. So these are now adaptations that are unfortunately being thrown at PGG by Chiefs showing their prowess and ability to win with it.
And Rusty, at this point, is the only thing that can beat the Chiefs themselves? Are they going to, if they lose this next game, is that because they throw? Because they're looking just to have really got PGG's number.
I think if you play like the way that we want PGG to play, they can still beat the Chiefs in this series. And a lot of this for me is playing around your bottom lane. Like Katsuri and Dragu have shown that they're willing to sacrifice themselves for Croc's gain, but at a certain point you should be able to exploit that. And they've been pretty consistently been doing fine in laning phase if you're Praedyth, but I would just put all eggs into the Praedyth basket in this game, play through mid lane as a conduit to bot lane and just get him fed, and you should be fine. Just less redacted, more tanks in top lane, and play towards bot.
And you'd have to say, like, what, three out of 5 picks in their draft were fine in terms of how Pentanet have been drafting. They, that game specifically, I really like the Azir into the Akali. Like, Get Back had a pretty, like, I would say he had a pretty good performance until he started getting slept by the Lilia. But then, like, for the majority of the laning phase, he was completely fine. I think, this was the only game where we did see Pentanet's bot lane kind of falter a little bit. Actually, the Chiefs did get a 2v2 kill on them whilst there was teleports coming through. But yeah, like Rusty's completely right. It's the one lane that you've got to kind of look to exploit because A, it's your strongest lane, and B, it's the lane that Chiefs kind of give less priority to, and therefore it's probably, if you force the fights and force the skirmishes around there and put the Chiefs in a place in where they're not comfortable, then, it pretty much just flips the game and says, well, who's better in these skirmishes?
It is less Renekton and it is less pants on Chiefs coaches that are branded with legacy branding.
Yeah.
Or we'll just take less pants full stop. Because
Carbon's probably a very happy man right now watching this broadcast, to be honest, and the whole legacy esports club, so they're very happy about that.
All right. Some people who are not happy are us because we're about to dive into the LCK. We need to burn through a couple of these, gentlemen. Because we just got to do it. We got to do it. Let's just power through this.
We're speed running this?
Can we speed run this and just see how many we get through? I just want gut instincts. I don't even want the graphics team to be able to keep up with what we're about to do. Roll the titles.
Who's ready to wreck it?
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Prepare for battle.
Alrighty, I'm not even going to pay attention to what chat say on this. This is just us.
Who
It's just
cares?
us here.
All right.
Matchup 1, Ivan versus Udyr. Go.
Ivan.
Ivan wins.
Yes.
Shen versus Syndra.
Syndra.
I'm going Shed.
I feel like I do need some explanation as to why.
Okay. I like Shed a lot because he's the one real ninja, in my opinion, in this game. He's also like the father ninja of all the real ninjas. And
Yep.
it's funny because while he is the real ninja in the lore, he's the worst ninja in game. And I just think that's great.
I don't actually know Syndra's lore, but actually Rusty's convinced me.
Shen?
Yep.
That was the easiest convince of all time.
He's a ninja, bro. And he's a trash ninja.
Can I just say, Juves, you, I know I said we will power through this. Let's take a hard stop and talk about something else. So congratulations, Shen.
I changed my mind.
What?
Are you going to have a go at me for changing my mind?
No. I'm going to praise you for changing your mind.
Dude, okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready
go,
to accept
go.
the praise? Yeah.
Okay.
There are most people are so stuck in their ways and refuse to look at the world in any way other than the way that they think it exists. And you are one of the few people who I know who genuinely has a conversation with someone, and instead of trying to argue your point until you go, well, this conversation's over, you will argue your point, and then if someone brings something up, you go, oh, I hadn't thought about it that way, and then you genuinely change your mind. And I think that is a special trait to have in a human being.
Thank you, I appreciate that, but I will say I've had a lot of training because I did spend the majority of my professional League of Legends career actually not changing my mind and actually telling him, no, you're the one that made the mistake. No, it wasn't me. You lost us that game. So, I had time to evolve, right? I had time to adapt. Like anything, it has a evolutionary process. I've kind of went from an ape to what I am now. So, I did start off as an ape.
What are you now?
I'm still sort of an ape, but I'm verging on a human.
Okay.
I'm verging on a
good.
human.
Okay, good. You're the ape that's wandering around with the club, where it's like there's a
You're
happy
like
middle
Caesar
ground in
from
there.
the Planet of the Apes, right?
Yeah.
That's a good reference. All right, we will try to get through this fast. Let's get back on track. Matchup number 3: Ash versus Sejuani.
Ash. Just because I don't know why.
Nah. I go Sedge, because Sedge, like, dude, she's literally riding a boar. You know what I mean? Like, that's... How many people you know ride boars?
Also, she is just dressed weather appropriate. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah,
There is
Ash
so
is-
much
That's
midriff
true.
on Ash that she's like a frost queen who
But does
definitely
that
has
not
frostbite.
mean she's weaker if she can't stomach the cold the same way that Ash can?
Don't you think weakness is just is feeling like you have to put on a front to say I'm not cold, even though you definitely are? Isn't that real weakness? You have to pretend that you're not cold just to impress your
Do you
enemies.
think that in the Arctic, Ash wears that and just says, I'm not cold all the time to like,
I
I'm
think,
all
yeah.
shivering?
I think as soon as Ash is not around anyone who she is trying to impress, she is just like pelts, furs, hoodies, water bottles shoved up on her tummy, big Ugg boots. It's pathetic.
That makes me want to
you're
vote for Ash more.
No, that's sad. No, she needs to get out of here. She needs to learn a strong lesson. Sejuani wins because you're right. She's tamed a wild beast. She understands that you need a bit of fur when you're in the icy hinterlands. Congratulations, Ash, Sejuani, and Ash. I mean, obviously an iconic League of Legends character, just deleted from the game. Gragas versus Braum.
Oh,
Gragas.
I have to say Gragas. Because
Yeah,
I
Gragas.
think I've seen him at the peg leg a couple times, to be honest. That's going to be a good inside reference to a lot of people.
I think Gragas for a few reasons. One of them is because Juves just played it earlier today on the historical matchup. The
Yep.
other one is for Minky Whale. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're missing out. That's all I'm going to say.
Dude, yes.
And we are
Yes.
picking the OPL League of Legends champion, and I feel like Gragas is potentially the OPL champion. I mean, that was where Juves and I established our friendship, and
True.
of course, the years of casting in between have really tested that friendship.
Yeah,
but
for
now
sure.
I feel like the friendship is getting back on track.
It is. That's because Jake's not here to ruin it. He plants
I think
seeds.
that he's a seed planter, isn't
Yeah.
he?
He's a
and
seed
then-
planter, but he doesn't have any plants, so I'll let you figure that one out.
There you go. We'll do one more. It is a Nivea versus Lee Sin.
Lee Sin.
I'm getting flamed for picking only junglers, but there's no way Lee Sin's not a better champion than Anivia in every facet.
Lee Sin is like closest thing to maybe the perfect champion in League of Legends.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a huge call that I really wish we could double down on, but we've run out of time because I spent a lot of time talking about how Juice manages to change his opinion. So Lee Sin, absolutely take this one's out.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like we've got enough Frosty champions in this. It can't just be all Frost champions going up against
true.
each other. So well done, Lee Sin. Well done, Ivan, Shen, Sejuani, Gragas, Lee Sin. You guys all make it through to the next round. Good lord, there's another round coming up. Will the game ever end? No, it won't. Whose fault is this? Riot for making so many League of Legends champions. And who gets to pick all those champions? PGG and Chiefs. They get the full suite to pick from as they head into Game 3. Can Chiefs close out, or a PGG on the verge of a reverse sweep? Let's find out as we jump into game number 3 with the Macca's Champ Select.
It's game number 3 as the Chiefs lead this best of 5 on match point. Pentanet.gg are going to need to make some form of change. And that change, first of all, comes in going for red side and actually themselves here spawn banning away the Renekton.
Yeah, I mean, good pickup. And Lily are going to follow on the flip side of Summoner's Rift. Sure, the Nidalee is back up and available, but I feel like from red side, they should at least be able to get a counter pick for it. Very interesting, again, that the Ashe is being allowed through. And this is going to be the 3rd game in a row where Katsuri will be on that champion. I feel like it is hands down the strongest AD carry with Caitlyn off the board. What will be the response from PGG here? I'd like to see a Lee Sin game. Call me crazy. Give me Jin Lee Sin or something as the first 2 picks.
If Set's available, would you like to see Set played here by Pablo? We know that it's his most played, one that he really built a name for himself on. But nope, going to continue to go down this avenue. No, actually going to bait me. We thought we might see another AP jungler, but nope, going to go for aggression. Going to go for the volley bear.
Okay, so a little bit of the thick bear being taken onto the Summoner's Rift. And this is interesting to me because the Chiefs have shown that they do have some counter picks to volley bear. Most noticeably, they went the Jax route, I believe, one time it was played, Skimmy.
Yep.
But they're just going to say, you know what, stuff that. We'll continue to play tempo. Thank you very much.
Certainly do, and Nedley is fantastic at that. We've seen him play it already tonight and showcase that he is pretty profound at it as well. So it's a jungle paradise for Croc to excel on once more. Question is, what else will Chiefs go for? And they say, well, if you're not going to pick in that set, we're going to do it again, because we saw how many opportunities Draco was able to set up those major wombos, which really proved to be the deciding factor in a lot of those fights.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could have stuck a couple of the ultimates that he had just because they were so well set up by the sleeves.
You said, what was your quote? It's the most fun you've ever had playing League of Legends, if I remember correctly.
Mid lane set is actually just... it is such a fun jam. Like, there is no other way to describe it, Skimmy. Like, just being able to build Barmies into Deadmans, like, you just get yourself some Merc Treads, and you just can't be CC'd. Like, you're so tanky.
You go for a gank underneath turret and say, don't worry, I can soak up every single turret shot. It was crazy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of mid lane set at the moment. However, as you mentioned, Drago's been playing it a little bit this series. It is technically still a flex, but I think it's pretty crap into the Azir. So we'll see whether that is going to be, once again, just a blind pick support, and whether that can be punished by Rogue, who's had a... You hate to call out the veterans of the scene, right? But Rogue's had a pretty ordinary series here today, Skinny. Would expect a little bit more from the support player of PGG.
Certainly would, and we've known that he's been a big driving factor at the best of times to find those all-important picks to try and bridge the gap between early and late. What is good to note is that Pentanet have not locked in their solo liner here for BioPanther. Going red side is ensuring that they want to make him have as much power and potential as possible, potentially hold that pick till last, but they are going to try and make life a little bit easier for him this time around by banning away the Akali, removing the Camille as well. Does start to beg the question if we'll see the likes of Mundo, Ornn, or Urgot. Ornn in particular, if you're looking to try and play that late game scaling composition, given the fact that you do have the Azir, and you want to try and find Praetor from a point of power, going for a very early spike as the Ezreal.
Oof. Okay, so it's going to be Leona again. So we're going to see the second game of that. Ezreal Leona is actually a much better lane than people would think, just given the fact that Sunlight procs plus Ezreal's spells do a lot of damage, and they can both get in and out quite effectively. But I do like this. I mean, just give some resources to Bio. Get him on a super tank if you can. If this is going to be, you know, AP mid lane, AP jungle, like maybe it will be something like a Mundo that can be picked up here. And so far, that's what it's looking like.
It's his joint most played at second for the entire year, is that Mundo. 5 games, 80% win rate, pretty crazy. And much like Swiper on the Sion, one of the only players that really brought it to the forefront. Now, this is a pick that we've seen banned away earlier in this series, the Jace, the removal, to make sure that TN doesn't have that ranged advantage. It's been considered, but at a last imagination, well, they just swap it out to what I'd imagine is now a top lane Hecarim. Okay.
Interesting. Why would you blind pick Hecarim? Good against Urgot historically, Skimmy. I can't think of any other reason. They might think that this is going to be the Urgot blind coming across. Malphite.
We've got ourselves a press R composition here.
This is the weirdest draft I think I've seen on this patch. Shen Renekton, the only 2 top laners banned away. And no Ornn priority.
Yeah.
You know, as you mentioned, no Sion priority, which seems to be an O special at the moment. No Gangplank. Camille was also banned away, so I mean, that's technically 3. But I just feel like I've not seen either of these champions picked internationally.
Feels quite odd. We've seen signs of the Hecarim in the OCS, and to good success at the best of times, but not really on the OPL front. So a combo really that is very much all in. Does run the teleport ignite to try and find that insane kill pressure, looking to try and snowball and looking to be an absolute nuisance in those team fights when he comes on through with the charge. They have a ton of damage to follow things up with. It seems to be that they've just got a whole community really of engage. It hasn't really been a lackluster factor here for the Chiefs. They continue to go for the Ashe. They've got the set to follow things up with. If they need any more CC, well, hey, you've got a set and a Hecarim to look forward to as well. So not only is it easy for them to engage, but easy once again for the Croc, or I call him the Croc, easy for Croc's Nidalee to then pounce on and continue and execute.
Yeah, every single one of these comes from the Chiefs has had enough utility coming out of the bottom lane. As soon as you pair Ashe with any kind of, melee support, she's just going to have enough to be able to get the party started. So you're completely right. A lot of freedom across the rest of the Chiefs draft to just pick what they want, what they're feeling, and right now that is carries for Croc. And we'll see whether this is going to be any different, whether they can continue to use this recipe, Skimmy, to build up win after win and potentially take on Order tomorrow.
That is the all-important game to look forward to. Bear in mind, this is the lower bracket, so there are no second chances here. No extra lifelines can be afforded. And the Chiefs, they are one game away for securing that position to play again tomorrow. As for Pentanet, they've invested in this composition. They feel like this could be the start, the step that becomes a jog that could potentially turn into a run to formulate a reverse sweep.
Only Mammoth step, hop, run, whatever else we came up with the term. Pentanet, they just need to find some damn form. This is a shame, because I think I've been pretty vocal all year about how good I thought Pentanet could be. Sure, they finished third on Summoner's Rift, but to now bomb out as fourth with only winning one playoff game, I think that would be a disappointment for them, Skimmy. This is a team that felt like they had what it takes to win it all. But they need a better performance right now if they are going to be able to do that. They've got a big, scaling, scary composition on Summoner's Rift, but Chiefs have had their measure all day long. This is a little bit more Pentanet-esque, however. No leashes coming across for Pabu. The aggressive jungler starting in Fog of War, and we'll see exactly what it can get done.
So, my first question then, if we're looking at ways for Pentanet to come back into the series, you say that Ezreal and Leona is an insanely strong composition, which it is. The Leona passive, the W there, obviously from the Ezreal as well. Those two come together and suddenly you drop down to half in a blink of an eye. Obviously the items that could come on through, which is going to be a cheaper build compared to that of Katsuri's Ashe, knowing that Pabu is going to be parving towards the bottom side as well. Would you like to see them actually show up and showcase that their words in this pre-game were actually warranted?
Yeah, completely agree. I think that Pabu needs to get really, really busy actually in this early game. I would expect non-stop ganking after the level 3 is hit. If he doesn't, I think that they just lose like every single lane, to be completely honest. So I feel like he has to be the difference maker. Volibear is the best ganking jungler. Just has so much incredible movement speed coming across from the queue. He does a lot of damage, has an additional slow. So I just think like if you're not gonna, you're not gonna get busy in the early game, why take it over a farmer? He needs to be able to do something.
And that's what we're hoping to see, as we do know that Volibear, since the rework, has found a lot of love on the global front, not just only in the Oceanic region, but knowing that you can go for those ganks, he'll flash, you're forced to flash, or you'll pay the price and ultimately fall on down. And if they can find some nice little kills in the right places as he's actually hovering towards mid, that could be a snowball factor they'll be very grateful for. He's got the sweeper, Croc's in the area, he's going to be one that pulls the trigger to start things off with right now. That's clear stun, that's clear flashing away, that's clear looking to try and buy time for Croc to come on in and even out that trade. Both mid laners are low right now. Getback is potentially in lethal range. One order will do it. He'll flash. He'll secure it. One turret shot. Can Pabu turn things around? He most certainly can. He might be looking for a double kill. Here comes Tien on the flank right now. Charges a minion. Protect your mid laner. Get one more. There it is. He hits him with the Ignite fadeaway. And Claire lives again.
I have to see the replay of that, Skimmy, because that was just Fog of War trolling the absolute out of Pabu. He was so close to picking up the double kill. Maybe with a Triumph proc, he can also run away and live. But oh my goodness gracious, that is just a game coin flipped on a mid lane fight. And unfortunately, Pabu loses.
Well, that's everything you wanted to see there. Aggression at the start here. I mean, it all starts off so fantastically here by Pabu.
Yeah, it certainly does. So he gets in, gets a slow. They take out all of Claire's health, and then Croc goes forward. A little bit of hesitation here from Croc. So you can see that he takes a step back, has to flash forward. Okay, this is a first kill. So, alright, stun goes across. Pabu lands one auto, two auto. No cancelled auto yet. One. How did that not go off?
He's been very unlucky this series. I bring it back to game number 2 as the Evelyn. Yes, you can talk about skill shots being missed, but how many times have people, particularly Claire, evaded death by the slimmest margins? We're always looking at a number lower than 10.
Oh, I'm so mad for Pabu. Like, the full animation went off, but the damage didn't register. A lot of the time, you'll see, like, half animation and it'll look really clunky. But that looked like a full W. Oh, it's just, it's the little things in League of Legends, right, Skimmy? Like, you can never understate how important the little things are in the game. However, now, bit of action on the top side.
Especially at this pro level, as Tien will be the benefactor of the gank before, having the double buffs there, but now is suddenly in a lot of trouble, but that's going to be Chiefs responding to it first of all. 3v2, Spear doesn't connect, but Pub is in trouble. Tien rotating for those squad as quickly as he can, Viper trades it, he finds the double buff, but he might now fall on down, as Pub's in trouble. It's a 1-for-1 so far. What can Croc do? Can he look to try and find himself? Heal on cooldown, pounces forward, get back flashes out of the combo. It's going to fall down all the same. Clear gives himself a double kill before Biopanther, the Rock in the top lane, says, I'm not on Renekton duties today.
Eesh.
I might run you down, you might survive, but don't come to this lane again.
Okay, another 2-for-2 trade, but this time it's going to be set taking the long journey all the way to the top lane. So this should mean that Praedyth gets his big advantage on the bottom side of Summoner's Rift. Very well played. Also, teleport advantage going to be picked up for the Malphite as well. If somehow he can push out this top lane with his double buffs, get back into lane without using TP, oh, there could be some spice in the bottom lane. Let's take another look at this. Pabu still staying active. Will use the blue smite as well. Little bit of a tricksy backstep there. Causes some distance for Thien. It looks like Bio was able to get a very nice water cross. And credit to get back here. He knows if he swoops in, he is in big trouble of like falling down. But he still goes for the aggressive play, and that means that they're successfully able to trade out. I also love the fact that PGG are always hitting the same target. They've really learnt from that second game, little bit of a mishap in the bottom lane. And doing a much better job of it. Tyr already picked up for the Ezreal player. And Claire just knows that he cannot go back to that mid lane as long as the wave is like this. Because he's just going to die again.
Obviously, we have the vision and we know exactly where this jungler is right now. Pabu just continues to camp that mid lane, and especially with Rogue being freed up from bot lane, giving Praedyth some sort of XP. He's waiting in the wings as well to make it a 3v1 dive and punish the fact that Claire, whilst he got himself some kills, doesn't have a flash.
Okay, so they're going to start up the Dragon. Very interesting. Just given the fact that they don't actually have any push in the bottom lane. So you can see that Praedyth isn't there at all. They're going to be spotted out. This is a level 5 Nidalee with completed jungle item versus level 4 Volibear with no completed jungle item. But, fine.
I'm going to fully commit to that one. Both junglers did not have the flash, and he's quite content to say, well, I can chuck out a spear and see what happens, but I've got myself such a big lead, 48 to 33 in camp clear. I don't need to really overvalue this dragon at this stage. We got ourselves a small lead, and it's proved to be very successful that if we find small leads, we continue to build them up and just wait for Pentanet to make most mistakes.
Yeah, and the thing is I just realized why they didn't contest that dragon. Biopanther actually done the right thing. He'd recalled and he was just sitting in base with teleport. And as I mentioned, Thien didn't have teleport, so, even the best in the business miss stuff sometimes, guys. I needed about 20 seconds to figure that one out. But you can see again, Thien being very active on the top side of Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, he's going for a cheeky 1v1 trade right now as Chiefs are on the hunt. Claire's coming on through. There's the onslaught. There's a charge.
They're committing.
The fleet. Now going for the full commit. He's forced to ultimate away. Unleash power goes on through. Not enough orbs. Not enough damage. He's forced to run. It's not going to be running further enough to survive from that situation. Croc will pick up another kill. Assist shared around. And Chiefs just continue to abuse the top side of this map.
Yeah, and Bio would be kicking himself that he didn't, actually get out of there a little bit earlier. He allowed himself to take a lot of damage. And again, full inside track is there through the jungle. So Croc can actually turn this again if he wants to. The swoop and scoop.
Get back has swooped a little bit too far, but it's still good nonetheless. The Emperor's Bite comes on out, and here's the Thunder descending from the skies. A big shutdown that should pay off big time here for Pabu to catch up in the jungle department. And it'll snowball now into their second objective of the game as well.
Yeah, nicely done. You can see their bottom lane, once again, fairly active up the river. So Leona already in this mid lane, potentially trying to drag the creep wave to create the mini freeze before going back bottom. Very well done from the veteran there in Rogue. And this is going to be another objective going the way of PGG. So whilst they're 1,000 gold down, Skimmy, the game looking much better for PGG. I feel like they've been more active. This is more of a PGG style, especially around their jungler.
And I want to say also Get Back. You know, he's been looking to sacrifice not only his wave, but his, you know, his health and even his life at times to say, I'll group up with you, we'll do what we can. If I fall down, no biggie, because I'm hoping that one of you takes a result as a benefit of that one. But in that last fight, the fact that he just cut off any avenue for you to disengage away, even if you use the flash, the Emperor's Light there made sure that we wouldn't take you down no matter where you went.
Yeah, good point. Get Back having a really great game. Has once again gone the blue book build. This is a little bit outdated, but does give you more access to mana. And we'll see whether this is going to be a play bottom.
Late cleanse, but doesn't
Flash
pay off
shot him
against
rogue.
them.
Oh,
Can sidestep that Zenith Blade, and no all-in will take place in the bottom lane. Ashout goes on through, doesn't connect though, it was aiming for a jungler, and there's Draku flashing on forward, hitting the face break, and forces 2 flashes to disengage out, and even a cleanse from Praetor as well. So a big exchange of summoners in the bot lane, but no major advantage found.
Pabu and Rogue both had flash there, as well as the Ignite. As soon as you see that cleanse come out from Katsuri, I feel like you commit everything, and he instantly dies. But not going to be the case. Katsuri will hold on to his flash, and now without Rogues being available, he will be a little bit more hesitant, I feel, of being aggressive. So once again, just go back to the mid lane, play around the scoop, it's back up and available. It's working so far. Just continue to try and bully Claire, I feel like has to be the game plan right now for PGG.
Yeah, it feels very much like the spotlight is focused on mid and top lane, and bot lane have been showcasing that they'll look for fights, but not wanting to overcommit. They're quite content just farming away and leaving the rest of the team to go for those flashy plays or find those big advantages. You want to see Rogue, you know, really sharp to that situation, and you had a small glimpse of it, but as you say, potential flash could have been a very different outcome.
Yeah, and I feel like they should have dropped Herald mid lane here. They would have got a lot of damage done to that turret Skimmy with a Rift Herald drop. Azir does quite a bit amount of damage to the mid lane turrets. They knew that there was probably a reset coming out of Claire. So a little bit interesting play there. Holding on for it for a better opportunity, potentially.
Not enough opportunity to present itself in 30 seconds, the second dragon of this game.
Everyone is just mid. Everyone knows exactly what their counterparts are doing.
Yeah, certainly do. That's going to be a nice little disengage away that Claire shoves back the creeping up Azir, looking for that wombo combo, looking for the ability to take him into turret range and make sure that everybody else that's collapsing on mid were able to pick up a kill.
Get Back needs to be careful here.
There's the ultimate again starts things off with ultimates colliding, wombo combos looking to try and be found here, but it's going to be Drago that finds the first kill. They've taken out the Azir, he's gone. Another kill here found by the Chiefs. You summon the Herald, it achieves very little at this stage. Not even find a headbutt as well, Spawn.
Yeah, that'll do it, Skimmy. I feel like we're on the verge of the Chiefs just running over PGG now. Drag, who once again gets backline access. And it was just... That's a poor management. They left top lane in neutral, they leave bottom lane in neutral, and they just try and draw a line mid lane and say, we can fight. But the Chiefs have shown all series long that when it comes to the 5v5, they are on a different level to PGG. PGG really need to find a numbers advantage to be able to win these team fights, and they just can't do it. We'll see whether they're able to get a couple more ganks off within this game, try and pull it back.
Bear in mind, Tien doesn't have an ultimate. He's only got this charge right now, so it's imperative that Pabu can try and lock him down for as long as possible. For the rest of the team, this rotating Ezreal and Leona, far too far away to collapse and assist. They don't have an ultimate as well, so unable to do any extra damage to maybe take down Hecarim. And no punishment to be delivered here just yet. 30 minutes in, the Dragon apiece so far, and a 2k gold lead that goes the way of the Chiefs as well.
And you can see the Chiefs members are just coming online. Trinity Force nearly built up. That is going to be Iceborne Gauntlet as well. It looks like potentially built for the Nidalee. A little bit more of the Brawler build coming out this time around. In the mid lane, Ludens plus Merctread's already done, so Claire's completely fine in this game. Cull about to be cashed in for Katsuri. So really, the Chiefs are laughing. No completed items right now outside of a jungle item and a Manamune Praetor that is yet to be upgraded. And they're 3,000 gold in a hole at 13 minutes into this game. This is getting very, very rough to watch as a PGG fan.
Maybe a little bit worried if you're looking at this Ezreal and thinking, but they should have been the ones ahead of the clock right now. They should have been the ones that found that tempo, found that lead, found that item advantage, and be the ones in the driving seat to get those kills. It hasn't panned out that way so far. Be desperate, no doubt, to find themselves that first turret, open up the map a little bit, and continue to find these wombo combo kills like their composition presents.
So now we'll see whether they draw the battle line.
Well, they found drop, and that is a lot of gold that they can find as well. They're going to commit a fair bit for it. Both going to go for the wombo combo. Out goes the volley, but in comes the set. A trade of ultimates, no matter where you're on this map right now, everybody presses the button R. You're stunned, you're locked in place, cleanse comes on through. That might be Praetor secured.
Alpha?
But members around him will fall on down as a result, and as you quite rightly point out, Biopanther did have the dash on through if he wanted to find it. First, just to push on through mids.
So Biopanther doesn't use teleport there, instead walks up river, and then not willing to commit the ultimate or the flash to try and get something on the back end of the fight as well. So despite being proactive in a couple of areas, once again the Chiefs will win the skirmish. I think it was a 2-for-1 trade when it was all said and done. Ultimate's not available now for the Chiefs, so there is an opportunity that this Malphite ultimate does secure them a Rift Herald. I would expect that to be the case. I don't know whether Chiefs want to run into Biopanther at this stage of the game, but you can just see that, you know, already prepped minion wave in the bottom lane. They're going to break the first turret of the game, and you know what? I don't know whether the Chiefs care if they lose this Rift Herald.
That was going to be my point exactly. I don't think they care right now. They know that Pentanet have to make something happen. It's a desperation every single member of their roster have committed to this one. Tien doesn't have a teleport. He just wants to push turrets.
Yep. The more poke that lands, the better off they're going to find themselves in these skirmishes that break out. Mid lane is going to be the next point of focus, you feel like, for the Chiefs. You know, Ash Arrow abound in a couple of seconds, and no cleanse available for Praetor or Rogue.
Well, here's a 1v1 between both those mid laners. That's going to be Get Back forced to disengage away. Angry Behemoth comes on through, but Angry Behemoth no doubt in Clear's mind, as his full combo is unable to take him down.
And they're just running the whole map at the moment, the Chiefs. Anywhere they go with numbers, they're just winning. Does Bio look for a 1v1 here? He knows no ultimate available. No, instead he's going to go pick up some farm. I feel like Pentanet should be desperate. They seem to be pretty controlled still, you know, just a little bit more calm, but I feel like at this stage of the game, I don't know whether they outscale all that much. I feel like they need to look for a desperation play.
Well, if they won't, the Chiefs certainly will. They've got the engagement tools, they've got the ultimates, and they've got the ability to try and find that key target, but unfortunately for them, they are unable to take down anybody. Nearly themselves fall down as Tien just managed to run away from harm.
And this is what's happening. The Chiefs are just being way more proactive in these areas. You know, they're using their teleports early to get to the objectives that they want to fight. They're looking to dive turrets off built side lane waves. And PGG, they're trying to counter-attack, but it's not being so successful. The start of the game when it was looking so promising, Skimmy, was when it was PGG on the front foot dictating the pace of the game. And sure, that cost them a little bit of CS, but it did manage to get themselves in a situation where there was 1,000 gold between them and they were getting some good objectives. Again, they dropped the Herald mid. They are going to look for a dragon.
Will they look for a fight as a result, or will this Herald just be taken out again and achieve no headbutt? That is the question right now. Level leads are found in all the right places. 2 levels in the jungle, 1 level in the mid lane. Chiefs are proactive, but they're ahead as well.
The
no headbutt.
Saddest Heralds ever.
There's the Hex Flash. Zenith doesn't connect, unfortunately.
Rogue didn't want to hit that. That was thrown so far to the left.
I can feel the tension, the pressure. It's mounting. It's 18 minutes in here. Praetor doesn't have the mirror mana just yet. Doesn't have an item spike to look forward to. The Chiefs right now just looking for the flanking angles. They don't seem too concerned about this dragon. Pentanet, they want to go for it between both the Vomit and the Malphite. They're going straight onto Nidalee's head. There comes Drake, who 1v2 just slam dunking him on through. There's the Solid Player trying to take out people if they can find them. But I see that score sheet is lighting up blue, just like the Chiefs. They find 1, 2, and 3. They take you all down. You have the dragon, but we'll just take you.
And again, the Chiefs just cleanly win the team fight. PGG get Croc, but it's going to be the Chiefs with the rest of the ace. And you can see now it's a 7,000 gold lead, only 18.5 minutes in, Skimmy. And I just feel like the Chiefs today have been on a completely different level. PGG have not looked like they have a chance in this game. Again, you called it. The flank was just there. They bunch up. The front line standing on the back line. No one is going in. They use 2 ultimates to just take out the jungle. If I didn't know better, this is like a WWE match where it's just you get bonus points for taking out Croc. But you can see the kite back. Very great from Katsuri. He's played a stellar series so far. And there's not really all that much else to say. Chiefs just look like they're the better team today.
Certainly do. They've woken up and they've risen to the occasion. The burden of execution there for Pensnet starting to, I suppose, really get into their minds because they feel forced to make these plays, forced to go against what they probably want to do, which is to slow down this situation, but they're playing into the narrative that the Chiefs are very happy with. More fights going their way. Yes, you group up, but you've invested, as you quite rightly point out, so much into this Nidalee. Have you forgotten about the rest of the team? And comes back to haunt them. 20-minute mark, 8k gold leads. The world is Chiefs' oyster.
Certainly is. And I feel like this is one of those series that got out of hand really, really early for PGG. And, you know, just speaking from personal experience, I've had them before where you go in, you think you have an okay game plan, you don't make the necessarily adaptations too early enough, and then by game 3, you just feel like, wow, this series was over before it really even began. That's what it's starting to look like, Skimmy. Mentality would be shot at this point. I know PGG is a team that is just famous for smiling through everything. But you are now 8,000 gold down and about to be eliminated out of OPL 2020 Split 2. Shot at World's gone. And honestly, this hasn't been their best League of Legends. So it's just such a shame to watch. But you got to credit the Chiefs. The Chiefs have looked absolutely stellar today.
They've looked in very fine form, as you say. The cohesion, the understanding of what they want to achieve, and just the slim margins, the fine those advantages, but then actually be able to utilize them as well. It's one thing to get it, it's another to utilize it. And touching on your point from before, you know, this is a Pensnet roster. There's a lot of experience between them. They played at the highest level for such a long time. It's going to take a lot longer for them to tilt compared to your average player. But there's a limit, a capacity that only so many people can take. Unfortunately here, it's looking like we're starting to see the undoing as they're down by 8k and just really unable to find the situations to, you know, give them that reason to smile, as you mentioned.
You got to admire the panache out of PGG. They have one play that they've drawn up for this whole series, and that is gank Claire. It's a play that hasn't been the most successful, Skimmy. However, they have stuck to it to the bitter end, and here they come out of the gang crush. They emerge.
It's almost scripted at this point. It's clear, it's an ultimate, it's another, and it's a chance to shut him down. And that is what they will find. But it's not without the Chiefs saying, we want retribution. That's get back, flashing, dashing, and ulting away. It doesn't change the outcome. He falls on down all the same. The Chiefs are angry, and for good reason too. Stop ganking our mid laner.
You took our mid laner, but we will make you pay the iron price. They take blood for blood. Get back goes down. Now 1-6 on this Azir. Once again, you gotta admire, like, as a coach, you gotta love the fact that you've obviously said Claire overextends on his side lane. This is punishable. And 22 minutes into the game, 8,000 gold down, game 3. They're still looking for that play, Skibby. It hasn't been the most successful one, but that's just funny to witness, to be honest.
He certainly isn't feeling the pain, though, because his KD is looking pretty impressive. His Claire's 4, 2, and 8 so far. Got himself 6 stacks on the Dark Seal as well. Potentially look to upgrade that to Magi's and ensure that he is going to be a very strong boy coming into this next fight. It's 30 seconds, and it's going to be the 4th Dragon of the game. One that, no doubt, as a Pensnet fan, you're very hopeful of its acquisition. Put yourselves in a situation where you could potentially look at getting a soul point, but that tends to be the key frame that we've drawn up in this series, hasn't it, Spawn? You know, potentially, but then the Baron comes around, and just like that, the Chiefs end the game.
Yeah, that's what we've seen a couple of times. About this time that PGG take one of these team fights, Chiefs roll them, and then go take Baron. Rogue already at half health from one of those spears. Inside track is here, however, once again, that is the flank being opened up by this Hecarim. And somehow they're just walking through an Ezreal and an Azir. This is why you pick these two champions, because you're not supposed to be able to do that.
Skill shots flying, all a case of if it can hit its mark. Tricia Barrage are going through, but they've got the sustain with this Nidalee and the rest of their kit just to shrug a lot of it off and continue to play the fancy feat. Out comes the arrow, and just like that, Cleanse has to be committed to. Solo Flame does nothing. That's Dragon going in 1v4, and there's the flank from the horse himself. Locks them all in place. Get back, tries to go for an MVP moment. It's just too little too late. He's gone out of the fight. An all-important shutdown is found here for Brayden, but at the cost of his health bar falling so damn low. And just like that, Pensnet's bot lane is evaporated. So are their chances of trying to make this game go in their favor. Panther, the sole survivor. He may just get run down, scattered a week, pounce and delete.
And finally, the Chiefs get the frustration play. You can see Prated, he wanted to land the poke. He knows exactly what his job is. None of it's landing. He eased forward, eats the ultimate instantly from Katsuri. Dragku cleans him up, drags him into his team, front line on back line. Everyone folds 24 minutes into the game. It is another ace for the Chiefs. And now 11,000 gold up, They are in so much control over this game. And it all just starts here. It doesn't have the E available. And you can just see the Flash ultimate, 4 members on 4. It looks like the team fight could turn because the big 4-person Malphite ultimate into the Pabu ulti as well. But they just don't have the damage to be able to get it done. Panther's trying so hard. But the rest of the team, unfortunately, not there to back it up. And the Chiefs too far ahead, too big, too strong, and too good today.
Certainly have been too good. And the wrestling analogy that you used moments prior, I think it's such an accurate representation of what we're seeing in these fights. Just a case of very ascending to the sky, slam dunking down and hoping that they can get as many people locked in place for that AoE connect. 4 members all the time seem to be caught in the chaos, but just from a standpoint of who has the better stats, well, I mean, the score sheet proves to be the biggest decider of that one. Now at the 25-minute mark, Chiefs up by 10k. They've got all the combat resources to win that fight convincingly.
And it's just such a big gold lead, right, Skimmy? Like, there's still some good scaling. You know, you're talking about Azir, you're talking about Ezreal. Ezreal's dead again.
Sidesteps one bit of CC, but there's more on the way. It's like a horror game right now. You're just getting jump scared at every corner you turn. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and you're really panicking because this game, it's really panning up against you. A last-ditch effort here. You'd have to imagine they fully commit there to TM, but he just ultimates into the Baron Pit, baits them all.
But, I mean, that's the 3 utility players. Like, you don't care about this if you're the Chiefs. No one here does damage. Like, all they can do is steal.
Pabu and Bio, their last chance. Unstoppable Force jumps in. The Baron getting lower and lower. 1500 health, getting close to smite range right now to taking their attention off it. Is it getting closer? Can it be stolen away? It most certainly cannot. That was looking like their best chance to turn this game around. It's just too little too late. They're going to pick at the Baron, and much like we've seen in this series so far, no doubt look to close out this series.
Yeah, that could be GG. It's going to be 20-second death timers as the wave hits the inhibitor turret. You see how quickly they fall down. True Shot Barrage fired at Champions, not fired at Creeps. And the Chiefs back away. Once again, just show a little bit of composure. Show some chill. They know that they need to get this one right. 14,000 gold, that's not enough. Go back, spend some gold for your team. But PGG now reeling in this best of 5.
Certainly are. They've lost their first inhibitor. This time, the Chiefs finding a moment to execute on that Baron buff. Not playing Call Come Collected, not playing tutorial style. No, they're going to take a little bit, but still show that restraint and make sure that they've put any doubt aside. There's no potential comeback position. There is no option for this series to be drawn out longer than it has to be right now. And it's going to be a bit of dead space with the objective, anything for Pentanet to look forward to. Another 2.5 minutes before Dragon is there for the taking. So stem the bleeding has to be the key frame here as to what they can do to hold off the remnants of this Baron buff.
And I like this.
Oh no.
And now they're all spotted.
How insane
But I did
is
like
shot?
it.
How insane is it?
Oh. They're going to find nothing. Just another little gank rush in the side lane, Skimmy, hoping that someone comes in. What can you even do versus the Chiefs lineup that plays like this? We thought the Chiefs, when they were in a form like this at the start of split number 1, were the best team in the OPL.
Yeah.
And then Legacy obviously had a terrific back end of the split and they were able to take that title, but everyone expected Chiefs to be right there with them. It seems like Chiefs right now, they had a shocking regular season split. Like, call it what it is. 4th place for the Chiefs Esports Club is the lowest they've ever finished in the OPL, Skimmy. But they seem to have found the form at the right time because they're looking very good right now. Getback is looking very unhealthy right now.
The squeeze begins by Panther on the flank right now. Actually committed a teleport to a ward they dropped only moments prior, looking for a flank. This has to be the do or die moment. The second inhibitor is going to fall on down. He's just going to run it away. He actually falls victim to the minions. That might be the ranged OP. He's got 100 health to his name. Cledge needs to hit 1 skill shot. Surely he's got the range. Scattered awake. Flop on his head. Force him to flash away. Now he's just trying to delay the inevitable. Sidesteps a second orb.
Dancing shoes. Oh, bad luck to Biopanther. He tried. Ultimates were thrown on the other side of Summoner's Rift as well, but with 2 inhibitors down now, Baron's still there for a very long time. No top laner for 35 seconds. You've got to feel like the Chiefs now. They can do it. But instead, just once again, mate, slow and steady. Take a teleport, come back in.
And whilst you can say this is them being cool, calm, collected, this is really adding salt into the wound of what has been a very dominating series, making sure that Pentanet literally had 0 possible chances of coming back into this game. It needs no words form. That's Predative running and gunning, using everything that Ezreal has, and it's still just not enough. The damage, it's there. There's an all-important shutdown that Pub is able to find, but the rest of his team have fallen on down in the grand scheme of things, shutdowns the goods, but it might not mean anything when that third inhib falls on down. Super Minions will act as the sixth member for the side of Chiefs and just flood your base with pressure.
And I mean, Croc and Claire going very deep there might have just meant that this game is extended for a little bit longer. So the Azir will get some gold as he just continues to farm up in the base.
He's worth gold again.
Yeah, he is. Another Wind Dragon going to be taken from the Chiefs, you would expect. But this just feels like we're delaying the inevitable now. Padding the Twitch watch time, if you will, Skivvy.
More exposure for your brand, for your team, and what you get to look forward to as they, you'd imagine, continue their progression in this year's playoffs. Here's the Dragon, the fifth one of this game. No team in a position to go for a soul point. But with the amount of pressure that is flooding their base and with a Nexus turret that is soon to fall on through, I don't see a world in which Pentanet can even walk out of their base.
Yeah, they probably don't want to be honest. Because I don't think they want to fight right now. Maybe they can finish another item or something. You know, always a fool's hope. Maybe Chiefs get bored and just go hit a neutral objective instead and don't want to end the game right now.
The map is looking like a Christmas tree right now. It's all things fitting to the colours of the Chiefs. It's lit up blue. There goes Dragon, who slam dunk again. 4 members locked in place. He'll just negate all that damage you throw back at him. Grit is there. Haymaker is insane. And Set is a champion. He just does it all. They try their best. They try their hardest, but hardest is not enough. And stopwatches will negate those turrets taking you down. And just like that, the Chiefs on the night, they are crushing. They are devastating. And they will win out this series flawlessly. 3-0.
Credit to the Chiefs, they showed up to play today, Skimmy. They looked dangerous from minute one on Summoner's Rift. And across the board, really no one played badly. Good drafts coming across from the coaching staff as well. And the Chiefs would be happy with that. That is exactly what you need to build that momentum throughout the lower bracket run to try and rebook a final with Legacy.
And we certainly are going to be looking forward to an opportunity like that. As a Pentanet player, no doubt disappointment. You had the confidence, you had the ability, you had the praise that you were wanting to sort of showcase on the Rift here today, but it just wasn't their day. They just weren't able to find the moments, they weren't able to find the opportunities, and as the series went on, it felt like their strategy, a lot of it went out the window, and it was a case of just target one person, find any kind of small victory, and hope that it can, you know, build into something bigger, something more.
Yeah, and I mean, when you have a look at how Pentanet played this playoff series, I would say that we weren't proactive enough, I think. They had moments in that Game 3 that they were proactive, but between Game 2 of Order and Game 2 of Chiefs, they didn't really go forward all that much, Skimmy. And I think that what we found out in Oceania, and I've been saying it for a while now, is you have to be the proactive, forward-pushing team. You have to be the person generating the action, because that forces mistakes. Yep. And unfortunately, if you're not willing to do that, then you just fall down the slippery slope that is giving up and ceding control of the map.
A scary informed Chiefs that are showcasing what we saw in Split 1, which was pressure, aggression, and team fighting precision that forces mistakes, as you highlight, and a team that no doubt now is ready to go and do battle with Order, who have also been in very impressive form themselves. So that's something very exciting to look forward to tomorrow. But for the meantime, as we continue to celebrate the team that have progressed on through, let's throw it back to the desk and welcome back Nick Boy, Rusty, and Jubes.
Thank you very much. And Juves, it just felt like it was never in doubt for Chiefs tonight. From the moment they stepped onto the Rift, they smelled blood and they were just out for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the best that we've seen Chiefs play collectively as a team, generally speaking. I mean, you can obviously point to a few names who had some pretty standout performances, but you know, as a whole, I don't think there was a weak link today, and everyone played extremely well and did their job. And I think the most surprising thing out of today for me, and the thing to, I think, give Order a little bit of headache is the fact that their draft is not really predictable now. You know, when do they pick Lilia top lane and why? You know, they had different picks for different situations, and you know, the Akali in the mid lane, something to like brighten it up a little bit. Yes, it's traditional, but it's just gives them an extra dynamic, an extra thing to think about.
Yeah, and also seeing the red side draft with the ability to flex multiple champions then, right? Like, it was a Set and a Lilia that were flexed in that same draft, and it was a little bit surprising to see, but wildly successful, you know? So there's layers to this that need to be considered now, as Order did get to watch all of it, right? So they have some information, and they will have time to assess that, but at the same time, I feel like what we saw in this game was really just a draft for PGG. You know, we know that they're a high Lilia priority team, and we saw that pick maybe just for them. And it worked very well, and I don't know if we'll see it again.
Yeah, I also don't know whether draft was really all that important in this series, right? I think, like, the draft was more important for PGG, it felt, than it was for the Chiefs. Like, I'm pretty confident if you had to swap the drafts in a couple of those games, the Chiefs would have still looked like they were more comfortable on the champions that have been locked in. And I say this all the time, but I really dislike negative drafting, and I feel like taking Renekton for Biopanther 2 games in a row when he plays all of the Renekton counters is literally negative drafting. If you have a Shen Ornn player on your team, I just cannot comprehend the Renekton pick in a couple of these matchups. So I just think the Chiefs, sure, they had good drafts and they looked comfortable on it, but I feel like, and it's a shitty thing to say, but I feel like this was just PGG playing far from their best, and the Chiefs were in very, very good form, obviously.
And it is PGG playing far from their best at the worst possible time to be doing that, because that means that is the end of their split. Rusty, PGG, though, should be proud of what they accomplished over the course of this split. The leap from last split to this one is something that we've touched on many times over the course of the last 10 weeks. But they're putting themselves in a strong position for next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that they'll feel proud of themselves right now. But absolutely, when you look back at this year, the improvements they made between splits is monumental. And it's the individuals obviously still improving themselves. Biopanther was an absolute menace through the regular season of the OPL with his own niche champions. Pabu comes into a new role and maybe was slow to ramp up, but once he joined the OPL, just looked like a man possessed with the level of improvement that we saw from him, right? We can kind of go down the list and say these types of things, because honestly, they have improved across the board, and if they stay together, which is rare, but if they stay together, then they could be a force to be reckoned with next year.
And Juves, obviously we've got Order coming up tomorrow. Order, what are they taking away from the game that they've seen from the Chiefs today?
Look, I think that when Order and the Chiefs meet, it's, again, a similar thing to the Pentanet, where it's like a battle of styles, right? The only thing I would say is that Croc and Only play a very similar style with very similar champion pools. So potentially, I think we see a very heavy kind of clash between the junglers, who can get their hands on Nidalee, or who has the best Nidalee counter pick. Because for me, it's going to be a series where that's very contested. It just goes to show, like, Pentanet, I think, lost like 6 or 7 games collectively to both these teams against Nidalee. And whereas, the Order bot lane are coming off a little bit of a rough series, right? And the Chiefs bot lane are coming off not a rough series, because they played well this one, but prior to that, the Direwolves one was a little rough for them too. So they're actually mixing and matching quite well, because Swipe is in some hot form, Tien's playing extremely well, and excuse me, I just choked. We're going to see probably a really, hard-fought battle, and I think they're pretty evenly matched across the board.
All right, well, let's take a look at the results from today, because it was a very big day for the Chiefs. And while it was a split to remember for PGG, it was probably a day to forget for them, because it was a 3-0 in favor of the Chiefs, just absolutely dominating PGG almost every moment of every game, and they are putting themselves in a really strong position heading into tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, let's take a look at that playoff bracket. There's not too much to go. We're going to see Order versus Chiefs tomorrow, and then the winner of that is taking on Legacy in the grand final next week, which is coming up rapidly. Tomorrow we'll be seeing Order versus Chiefs starting from 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and we really hope that you can join us then. But joining us now will be a very excited Tien from the Chiefs. Let's get him on the line and see how the team are doing. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good, thank you.
You don't look it right now, but you must be stoked.
Just so. Like, there's still 2 more games that we have to play to win everything, so like that win for us wasn't that exciting. I'm more excited to play against Order tomorrow.
Has Claire had a discussion with you guys that you have to play it incredibly cool and almost self-deprecating whenever you're on an interview? Can you not just feel joy in this moment right now, or is it's just too early to feel joy? And if you feel joy now, if you lose in the finals, then the heartbreak is so much worse.
Yeah, I think it's just like being too emotional, I guess, is not good, because as a team we all see ourselves as top 3, and like us finishing so low, like the regular season, and like having to work our way up, like that's why I guess we're not as excited for every win. Like I think a win like next week, like tomorrow you'll definitely see a lot more emotion on people's faces, or like just in general, especially because it is Order. Because I think a lot of us in Order are friends, so that game means so much more to us.
The winning against friends is a much more satisfying victory than winning against enemies. Obviously, you are going to be facing up against Swiper tomorrow. I don't want to say that he taught you everything that you know, but you certainly both named yourself after colors as nicknames, and that he was something of a mentor while you guys were together on the Chiefs. What's that going to be like facing off against him in basically the semifinals?
Okay, so last split, I was having like some DMs with DOS, like Swiper, and I was telling him to make sure he beats Direwolf so I could knock him out like myself personally. And because we couldn't do that last split, this split I'm hoping that, well, since he couldn't beat Direwolves, I did it for him, and so I can't wait to knock out DOS tomorrow.
Awesome, dude. I love that confidence. And what is it about the Chiefs that you think gives them the edge against Order tomorrow?
I just think that like our team just matches really well into Order. Like Order strengths are basically nullified by like our strengths. So like our team identity is, like should match really well into Order. That's why I think we have an edge against Order.
All right, dude. Well, congratulations on the win. I'm not going to go celebrate because I know you're not going to, but go rest and get ready for tomorrow so that you can feel that joy when you beat Order tomorrow. So congratulations again. I know you've made a lot of people very happy who are big Chiefs fans, so well done.
Thank you.
Tian there, looking about 2 foot tall, really felt like that's an impressive victory from someone who I'm fairly certain can't reach the keyboard. That was like some...
a riff there, Nick. He was huge.
That was some like Lord of the Rings Force perspective shit. I felt like Gandalf talking to Bilbo, telling him that it's time to go on a big adventure. But very cool, calm and collected there from the Chiefs. As always, those guys, they only celebrate when they get the job done, and there's still 2 more days before they feel like they will be able to do that. But there is a big game coming up tomorrow, obviously, against Order, and a very big game coming up for either Order or Chiefs next week. That is the OPL Grand Final. There is a very big opportunity for you guys as well. We've got a big show planned for the grand final, and we want the super fans to come along as well. So we're going to be giving away some very cool prizes, including a OPL Ultimate Show Bag. So there's going to be a bunch of competitions we're running, but there are 5 Ultimate OPL Show Bags to be won. They're stuffed with merch, in-game swag, exclusive items you can't get anywhere else. We're looking for the top 5 OPL superfans, so start thinking about your entry, what that is, whether it's a story, a picture, a song, a poem, a dance. I would love to see more dancing on the OPL. That proves your super fandom. Entries will open on Discord next Friday during the grand final. Details can be found on watch.lollysports.com. These swag bags are incredible. You do not want to miss out on these, so really prove how much of a superfan you are by getting the superest fandom merch that you possibly can during grand final night. So we can't wait to see you guys there for the grand final, and we can't wait to potentially see the Chiefs, but obviously we're going to see how it goes tomorrow. Gentlemen, Rusty, are we excited for tomorrow? Because it's the second last game before the grand finals.
You know, it's going to be a very exciting day, Nick. I am looking forward to it, especially after Tian's last words, but I can't help but feel like there's this monumental hurdle in the way, and that's putting up with 4 knuckleheads after this show. It's really just clouding all of my mind right now, knowing what's coming up.
It's true. We are, because Spawn demanded it, we all tried to get out of it, but Spawn was like, we have to do MPL.
I said I got a meeting, and then Spawn was like, no, you go to your meeting, you're fired. And I said, okay, well, I have to play
so
this.
rough. And Skimmy, you've been casting, and obviously you got to save that voice for tomorrow in grand finals, and Spawn's like, no, not only are you playing, but you need to cast the MPL as well.
It's true. I might just mute my mic and just use sign language.
He is a
I'm actually ignoring you guys and just reading Twitter at the moment, if you can't tell.
Sign language
Spawn-
play-by-play would be like Naruto hand signs when you think
Oh,
about it. That'd be cool.
yeah. It'd
That
be
would be
crazy.
cool. Yeah, I don't quite know how you play at the same time, but you'll figure something out. You're a smart guy. So please hang around because we got the MPL coming up. That is the end of the OPL for tonight. We blazed through it. It's not even 7 o'clock. There is, like, if this was a normal society, we'd all been going out, but we're not. We're trapped inside. So why don't you stick around and be trapped with us as we head into the MPL. We will be back right after this short break.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe, and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got this! It's deadly! He's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Forget everything.
Let me show you what life cannot. Blessed are those who need my guidance.
I release them from their pain.
There is only death, mine or yours. If you've come to kill me, I hope you brought friends.
I'm going in! For some reason. Ow! Wait, I hit you! Sorry! Spirit Blossom!
And now, you have purpose.
Yield, or fall to my blades.